if you have a keen eye and look over my right shoulder, you can see all of those logos. All right, here we go.
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Take me out to Twitchy Dolphin Media presents Let's Get To. It's baseball from sea to shining sea by the team that brings you home. And now, your host, James Christopher.
Yes, I absolutely started that a little bit early. I was excited for Let's Get To After Dark. I am joined with people that don't need introductions. First of all, we have Jess Knaster. He is from the Harrisburg Senators, one of the oldest friends of the show. Jess, how are you?
Good. You know, if I can't say this for all other minor league friends, but we have 14 days, and it is chaos embracing time for sure.
I love that. Speaking of chaos, organized chaos in a apron, I guess you'd say. Erik, the peanut guy, Erik Mertens is here. Erik, are you also about 14 days from Tri-Cities kicking off?
I think we're less than that. I think we're less than that.
I guess you're either 10 or yeah.
Yeah, we're April 6th is our opening day.
I'm excited to jump in and talk to you guys. And it's funny because there was some reshuffling. And Jess, you were supposed to come on a little bit later, but you came on early. And I was like, and Jess, my wife, Jess, this is going to get confusing all night. You know, I love you, Jess, but there's also the other Jess, was like, but no, this is perfect because both of these guys are going to be in the middle of their stressed out time and maybe it'll make for good TV.
Yeah.
Now, I think she expects us to be the Real Housewives of the MILB, but here we are.
Drama.
We'll get to Jess in a second, Erik. Because for you, though, the prep work. What is it like for you as you get ready to launch into this?
That's for me, right? You're asking me?
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm my day job is what's really stressing me out, and I'm exhausted. I've been working lots of evenings and weekends, but always in the back of my mind, I have April 6th opening day circled on the calendar. This is about the time, like 2-3 weeks out. So now we're in the middle of it. Where I get really excited. I've been ordering brand new uniform elements for Erik the Peanut Guy. So I got brand new aprons, brand new bow ties, brand new shoes, socks, pants, shorts. I went into our team store recently and tried on 50 hats. I finally found one that I need a brand new gamer. So it's kind of like Jess must be like, oh my gosh, the luxury of just picking out an outfit. Because technically I'm just a game day staff employee, so I can do that. Oh, Jim, we might need to sign you up. Come on out here. Yeah.
Jess, how about that? It is different. It is having spent time with you in your booth, which I can only describe as organized chaos. Where are you as far as, because you also had stuff to do with MILB and getting things caught up to major league level standards. Where are you with all of this process as you get ready to go into year 2 of this new agreement?
Well, we have from that standpoint, I'm thankful that I don't deal with really any of the facilities based things. That's other members far more skilled and knowledgeable than me. All I have to do to get ready for opening day is punch a few buttons on my computers upstairs, all 7 of them, and we get there. I think realistically, I like to think of myself as a obviously slightly slimmed down, well, in theory, not in actuality, slimmed down version of Bruce Banner. He answered Tony Stark at the end of Avengers, and I apologize for spoiler alerts for a movie that's 13 or 11 years old. He's asked about how he's able to turn it on, how he gets angry, and the secret is he's always angry. You said that you were hoping for tonight that you're going to get stress. I'm always stressed.
I was going to say, look, you two guys are part of this show and part of my life for a reason. We're going to put some of that humility aside just to make for a very interesting television. So for now, embrace the fact that we're characters. Erik, it's funny because you and I, we have the relatively same day jobs. We work in the same space.
Yeah.
I think a lot of our teacher friends don't want to hear it about Catholic school teachers because they think we have it easy and it's
Yeah.
everything's got its thing. How
Right.
much though has it been? Okay, I'm this far away from a Mariners game and I'm this far away from being out with the Dust Devils.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I thank you. And I'm glad that you and I can connect on that. I mean, obviously every job comes with stress. You and I work at small private schools where having a job description is having a singular job description is a pipe dream.
It's more of a
Yeah.
guideline than a rule.
Yeah, exactly. But every day I start with prayer, coffee, and checking out hatcrawler.com and milbstore.com to see what fitted hats are out. And then in the afternoons, when I'm just like, I want to like scream and run and yell in the face of teenagers, I go to baseballmapper.com and I daydream about road trips to ballparks. So baseball is definitely like my happy place. And so the closer we get to Dust Devils opening day, and I'm going to try to go to a Mariners game next week, Dust Devils game next week. It's makes the difference. I will say though, this past off season, the one difference is I started working for our minor league hockey team here in the Tri-Cities, the Tri-City Americans. And, I don't know much about hockey. But it was fun and it got me on the mic. And a lot of our season ticket holders also go to the hockey games. So it was kind of a nice way to keep the energy flowing a little bit during the wintertime.
And we just accidentally walked into Jess's like ultra fan wheelhouse as is the NHL guy on the show.
Oh, good. I'm just going to stop talking about hockey then.
I'm a proud, as of this year, a proud season ticket holder. Because what does a sports employee do when they're not working in sports but go to more sports?
Exactly.
Of the Washington Capitals AHL, their AAA team, play in Hershey, which
the
is
Bears, right?
Hershey Bears, yes.
Oh,
which is just about 15 minutes down the road from Harrisburg.
Oh, fun.
Now I just flashed back to a SNL sketch where Mrs. Cleaver says right up the old Hershey Highway, but it's a whole different thing. We're gonna slide on past it. One of the fun things I think that all of us love and appreciate is new logos, alternate identities, where Major League Baseball is telling their teams no more than 4 jerseys, other than the extra one we'll give you, or whatever. We're over here, and Paul Caputo talked about how like Logo November is gone, right? Like,
yeah,
now Logo now, and we've had stuff nonstop. Jess, first with you, when you find out that the Harrisburg Centers have a new look or a new sort of version of an alternate identity, how early do you get to see it before everyone else? Like, or do you get to see it or have to see it when we do?
I not to peel the curtain too far back, but do get a chance to see them early, and in some circumstances, working within the marketing department as game entertainment does, and it's different everywhere you go, but there's usually some elements of helping with the decision making process. Here are some finalists. And getting to have some input on those sorts of things, or just hearing the screams from down the hall when we get our first sample hat in, and everybody goes rushing to see what it looks like.
Happy screams, right?
Oh,
right.
Yes. I have hopefully by that part of the process where we've gotten the first of about few hundred. Yes, happy.
Yes, yeah. Hopefully
the first few hundred. Erik, how about you? I mean, is it kind of the same deal for the Dust Devils? Like, do you find out about that stuff way early, and do you get a say in it? How does that work?
I do, and I'm really, really blessed and lucky because, again, I'm not a full-time member of the front office, but I am the longest tenured employee with the Dust Devils, seasonal employee. And they know I love hats and logos, and that's why I love minor league baseball. So my good friends in the front office usually kind of like text me a sneak peek, or maybe during a game, like for the Columbia River Rooster Tails,
right,
that came out this past year. There they are. I remember I was on a road trip. I was going to a Salt Lake Bees game. So I was visiting the Utah State Capitol before the game. And Daryl Ebert, our vice president, general manager of the Dust Devils, gave me a call. And he's like, hey, I just wanted to let you know we've been working on this thing. I'll send you some photos via text. And told me about the Rooster Tails. Just this week, I don't want to spoil anything too much. Just this week, I got a sneak peek at a future iteration of our Copa identity.
Oh,
And
yeah.
nobody knows, but they sent me a text, which was really nice.
I guess, yeah. I mean, this is getting to the point where people are starting to refresh those things. So
Yeah,
it's getting fun. It's funny because I'm friends with the guy from the Hooks that's on the show all the time, and he keeps teasing me about a new Blue Ghost look, and he won't tell me what it is. He won't show me. It's like he can't trust me. That's probably smart because
true, yeah.
I would be, all over that. Ballpark trips are also going to be a big part of our life. And we're going to go back to some of the Copa stuff here in a second. But Jess, you and I are going to be together again. We haven't been to a ball game in forever. Lindsay's going to. My favorite part, Eric, is he messaged me and he's like, hey, are other wives or women going? And I was like, well, yeah, because I guess Lindsay just didn't want to come. She was going to be the only estrogen in the booth.
And it was more just the idea of, well, the boys are going to have their fun watching baseball, and if I'm going, I want to enjoy all the snacks in the suite. I want somebody to enjoy the snacks with, and I had to reassure her that even if there were other people along who didn't care about the baseball, the people who care about the baseball are going to care about the snacks too.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. That's part of it.
We are exactly. We are efforting some really good snacks. Are there any trips? And this is going to be one of those not so clever segues because I do have a reveal to do on the show here in a second. But any trips, Eric? I know you usually have an extensive list. Anything that you're kind of getting more and more fired up for as you get closer?
Yes. And again, man, I wish I could join you all in this upcoming trip in May to Omaha.
There will be annual ones. Don't worry about it. We're
Okay,
going to do this every year. Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, we Karina and I, newlyweds, our 6-month anniversary was just a few days ago. So we are learning about finances together, and we're learning about planning trips together. And because I've been just like buying plane tickets for myself and like pointing to a map and saying, "That's where I'm going." And now I have to remember that, hey, I have an amazing wife who wants to be a part of this, which is incredible. She loves it just as much as I do. So we do have a 10-day trip to Texas planned in August, and we're very excited about coming to your neck of the woods, Jim. Very excited about that. So
and I'm so pumped, and I think I've left most of my August wide open for just such an occasion.
Oh, thank you. I saw your calendar. You posted it on Twitter the other day, and I was double checking. I was like, oh, okay, good. All right.
No, I think I kept everything open, right? Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then I really want to get to the Glacier Range Riders, which is within driving distance from the Tri-Cities. And then I haven't been to the Montana ballparks in like over 10 years. So
okay, yeah.
Do a little loop. And then I just got very excited because I have like another week where maybe I could go somewhere. And last year, the Nanaimo Night Owls of the West Coast League reached out to me on Twitter, and they're just north of Victoria, British Columbia, which is my favorite city in the world. So if possible, and this is, I don't know if anyone with Nanaimo or Victoria Harbor Cats are listening, but I'm going to try to make something work to visit them too.
That would be excellent. The Glacier Range Riders in particular, I'm also very excited to get out there eventually. Before we get going, we do have some folks watching, and I know people have been sending messages, and I'm not necessarily seeing them come across for some reason. I need to have like Ed give me a whole lesson on this, but hey, Ed, talk to me like I'm 3. Okay, talk to me like I'm 1, or like I'm 47, But Don Gillingham has joined the show. Don is a big fan of the show. Don's dealing with some stuff, and his son's dealing with some stuff, but we're super excited that Don was able to join us. And his son's dealing with some health stuff, and he's a big fan of baseball, longtime baseball player. Actually was on the field for oh my God, who was that former Met who was managing in the Indie League, and he had the famous meltdown where he was throwing the bats one at a time? Was it
Oh
Lenny
my God.
Dykstra?
I remember seeing the clip, but I don't
Oh,
remember.
now I'm going to be mad.
Yeah, in Fargo.
Oh,
No, it was in Georgia.
Oh, in Georgia. Okay.
Yeah, it was it was part of the documentary Playing for Peanuts. Anyway, I think it was Lenny Dykstra. Don, comment on Facebook and let me know if I'm wrong. But anyway, we're gonna put a GoFundMe up to help him get taken care of because that's the family going through a lot now. You know, Erik, you had mentioned how much Karina likes doing the trips with you, and I had the best conversation with Jessica because we were trying to come up with our strategy to get to Rocket City in 2 weeks, and we're driving to Huntsville, and the original
wow.
the original
Yeah.
plan was to do Pensacola because it's about a 10-hour drive, and then work our way back. But it being Easter weekend, there was no place to stay that was dog friendly within Pensacola that made any sense. So we were figuring out the whole get to Rocket City. We didn't want to do the drive all at once with the dogs going there. So she's like, we can stay in this other city that also has baseball. And we are going to be going out to the Memphis Redbirds. I have never been. I have heard nothing but great things about it. I have it's funny, guys, my personality is such that I'm a planner, but then I also hate that I have a plan because I can't be spontaneous. And so this conversation began at 10:15 last night. Like I had already gone to bed. And so now I'm running out. I'm like, yes, they have a game. So then I'm running back, and then she's finding the verbo, and I'm getting things figured out. We've contacted the team, haven't heard from them yet. We've contacted Graceland to maybe have them come on and talk about Elvis and stuff. But yeah, so that basically Good Friday will be a really good Friday for Jim.
Really good Friday.
Will be at the Memphis Redbirds. Have either of y'all been? Erik, you have. What can we expect?
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to hear you say that. The Memphis, I believe it's still called AutoZone Park. I think that's the name of their stadium.
Okay,
it's one of the gems of like local AAA baseball because the stadium is within walking distance of Beale Street, which so my mom and I flew into Memphis. This was a couple of years ago. We went to Graceland. That was a blast. Then we did Beale Street, and then we walked to AutoZone Park, and it's kind of like Charlotte, or it's kind of like right in the middle of the city. It's like built into the ground, and so you're looking around.
I love that.
Yeah, and their branding obviously is top notch. You get a real sense that you are in Memphis. You get a real sense you are in this historic city in Tennessee on the river. And this is what we do. We're Redbirds fans. We've been around forever. And it's just a blast. I can't wait for you to go.
I'm just tickled. And, Jess, it's funny because it doesn't violate my rule. I have the rule about team names and this and that. Though I am going to the Syracuse Mets, and Paul and I have already figured. Paul Caputo's like, he's going to be producing that episode as we tiptoe around the whole, you're still the Mets. No.
They got like 5 alternate identities you can do.
Okay, so maybe he's not that clever a producer. That's exactly what we're going to do. Sorry, Paul, if you're watching. Jess, have you been out there yet?
To Syracuse? No.
No, to the Redbirds.
Oh, to Memphis? No. Lindsay and I stopped in Memphis on our drive out from Southern California when we moved out to Harrisburg. But we had a dog and a car full of stuff, and it was also the beginning of March.
Not baseball season.
Baseball season. So we did have good barbecue delivered to the hotel.
Ooh, yeah. Jim, that reminds me, Jess, I'm glad you mentioned that. Mom and I went to the ballpark. We parked our car. There's like a parking garage nearby. Then we asked the people, we had a few hours, of course, before the game, where we could eat. And there's like this world famous barbecue joint right by the stadium. I forget the name. But then just this past year, I was watching the Travel Channel or something, and no, it was national news. It was national news, and that restaurant was featured on like CBS National News or something.
What?
So,
what's the?
So, yeah.
You know the name of this? You can send me. You can email me the name. Yeah.
I can find it and email it.
The Ribs, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We just got a holler from actually one of my favorite guys on Twitter at Shy Dog Fool. He's a Chicago Dogs diehard, and that was one of my first independent baseball experiences when the show first started. And just a blast. In fact, I'll be honest, it was one of those situations, guys, that kind of ruined independent ball for me because you guys
So
know,
good.
like in indie ball particularly, there's a gamut of I won't say quality, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
And if you haven't been out there, you have to. The whole shtick they have, because I'm a Texan, so to me, hot dog has ketchup on it, and like their villain mascot is a bottle of ketchup. Like it's like dressed like a streaker, you know? Yeah, no, it's so much fun. So much fun.
Man.
One of the things that I wanted to chat with you guys about too, I'm just like, we don't even have cameras. I just want to talk to you guys, but you know, Jess, your sweatshirt you're wearing is important to me, not just because as we talked about offline, I found out that I'm 1% Jewish. Mazel, is that right? Did I use that correct?
Yeah.
World Baseball Classic, guys. I've never seen something so many people loved, hated by so many people on social media. I don't know why I'm surprised, because social media, as Charlie Strong said once, is the devil. But start with you, Jess. Like, overall, I mean, what did you think of it this year? Did you have a good time watching it? Did you get mad if players got injured? I mean, where were you on all of it?
I think it was entertaining, and baseball at the heart of it is supposed to be entertaining. But I think one thing that a lot of people found, at least in my opinion, why they found frustration with it is they were not entertained, but they were more upset that not just other fans were entertained, but that the players were having fun. And you don't see that type of emotion out of baseball players really ever. And you know, the last few years, there's been the let the kids play campaigns with pimping home runs and bat flips and staring guys down, more so than what you saw in old days. That a first inning home run, you might see a bat that flips over 3 times. That's where we are. But you know, seeing that type of excitement and passion by baseball players, I think it's only good for the game. And I think what's not understood with the complaints of that Team Israel and Team Italy and Team Great Britain and a couple others who don't have a lot of homegrown players or guys who have played baseball in their native country for more than just maybe a year or two, or maybe were just born there and then moved here,
Right.
Is what the trickle down effect will be of people in Israel, people in Italy, people in countries where all they really have are, you know, even people in the Kingdom of the Netherlands, a team that's majority made up of people from another country. There's still going to be that, you know, the growing of the game. And Ryan Lavarnway, who just retired following the World Baseball Classic, who was a captain of the Israel team for multiple World Baseball Classics. He went with them to Israel in the 2020 Olympics, played in 21 in Tokyo. He had a really good thread on Twitter of what the World Baseball Classic means to him and what it means to the country of Israel, which is part of what it means to him. And that the money that they've gotten from participating in these tournaments on the Olympic and World Baseball Classic level is they've built multiple fields in Israel, and it's helping to grow the game. And I think you can easily say, oh yeah, you know, that team that's made up of Americans, like, yeah, now look at it in 3 World Baseball Classics from now. Look at it in 4 World Baseball Classics from now. I mean, look at hockey, Americans who played hockey starting, you know, 10 to 15 years after the Miracle on Ice. It has
yeah.
It has that sort of effect. It was no longer just a Canadian and international game. It could be an American game. And the Americans around the 2002, 98, or I guess 98 was a bad Olympics for the Americans. But 2002 and forward, the Americans have been competitive in hockey because they had that moment to look back on. So Israel winning the way they did at the Olympics, Israel getting a win and not having to qualify for the next World Baseball Classic with a come from behind win over Nicaragua. I woke my wife up because I clapped very loudly.
Good for you.
That put the Israelis ahead. But those are the types of moments that can actually be held on to. And it doesn't have to be a championship moment that does it.
Erik, I want your take on it too. I also have a theory that's maybe a little less pie in the sky, but it does, Erik, like to me, it feels like almost an extension of these theme night conversations we have. There's these group of people that say baseball needs to get spread, but not that way.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good connection. Yeah, you're right. Something was different about the WBC this time around in a good way. What is this? The fourth? No, the fifth, right?
Yeah, I think it's the fifth.
The fifth iteration. And in the past, I'd maybe watch a few games. I'd for sure watch a championship game, and that was about it. And it was never really on my bucket list of things to do. But I tell you what, after watching some of these games this year, I want to go to a game sometime in my life. And part of it was the excitement I got from, like you said, Jess, the players themselves saying this is the most fun they've had ever playing baseball. And then a lot of real baseball fans were like, this is amazing. And for me, I think what did it was Karina and I watched the semifinal game, Mexico versus Japan. And her family's, half Mexican, and her dad loves baseball. And we were pulling hard from Mexico, and it was like a familial, like cultural thing. We're like, all right. And I finally got it,
Yeah.
But you're right, Jim. It's so weird because more people this time than ever we're writing articles. We're saying this is it. We've turned the corner. The World Baseball Classic is going to work wonders for the game. And then, like you said, Jim, then there was more people like hating on it at the same time. It's weird.
Look, I'm a Stros fan, clearly. I'm not mad. I'm not going to blame. One of the things you talked about too is being familial is Jessica for my birthday a couple weeks now had surprised me with a weekend at Canyon Lake with all of my favorite people. And so I walk up, my brother's there, and like all these people are there. And one of my really good friends is dating practically my sister, and he's Puerto Rican. So we're watching the World Baseball Classic, and he's massive Mets fan. He's rooting for Team Puerto Rico, rooting for Team USA. Yeah. And we got to talking, and I think I kind of figured one part of it out. And some of it goes back to when I was in the military. And there is almost like it's uncool to be proud to be American about most things.
Yeah.
So we're almost like predisposed to not be proud of that, to the point of what's the point of rooting for this? Because if I do, all I'm going to be told is that I'm part of this thing, and the evil empire doesn't seem to bother the British at all. Even their uniforms are falling apart. But I don't know. I don't know if that's part of it. It felt like that's what the aha moment after many tequilas told me. And tequilas never led me astray before.
Oh, I don't believe that, actually.
Yeah, no.
No, you're right. I mean, of course I was rooting for USA. And then I definitely was very invested in Team Mexico. It's because I just married into a Mexican-American family. And I'm, my heritage is mostly German. And I saw that Deutschland had a hat. So they didn't make it, past the qualifying round. But I knew there was a Deutschland team. And I was like, I would be rooting for them, Yeah. But you're right, Jim.
That would make this call more awkward, though.
Why?
I made a really bad World War II joke. It was a really bad World War II joke. The other World War II joke I made was Japan. I guess they got revenge for 45. I don't know what to tell you.
Jeez.
They're not all winners, everybody. They're not all. They're not all winners.
And also, Japan's won this thing 3 times now. So,
well, but that's the thing too. Is like, I think, in many ways, like I think what Jess was saying about what it could do for hockey. Think about what World Cup and Ted Lasso has done for soccer. I went to a soccer game you guys know this. I was texting y'all. I went to a soccer game, and look, did I understand what was happening? No.
Yeah.
Was it fun? Sure.
Yeah.
I still think it's better than basketball, which I think is America's greatest waste of time.
I like college basketball. I've been to a few NBA games, and I will say this. I went to a few Portland Blazers games when I lived in Hillsborough for a few years.
Yeah.
As someone who works in the show of professional sports, the entertainment between innings and, the NBA, or at least the Portland Blazers, put on a good show. So even though I really could care less about the action on the court, I was very impressed with the show.
It was weird, and I don't know if y'all saw this. It's been pretty funny, but I'm a big fan of Jimmy Kimmel and his whole skit about does Gonzaga really exist?
Yeah,
Y'all been
yeah.
following this?
We love him because as a Zag and someone who worked there for a decade, that's free press, and it's pretty
Oh
good.
yeah. What about you, Jess? Did you March Madness at all?
I did. I do the March Madness. I do have to, as much as I dislike saying it. The Big Ten, a couple other large conferences, no Final Four teams. The Mountain West Conference, one.
Yeah.
I can be happy because even though I went to San Jose State and worked there for a few years, it's not Fresno State, which means I will claim them.
It's funny to me because I graduated from the University of Texas, and Texas wants to be a football school, and they are to an extent, but they are a college baseball school. They are actually the most successful college baseball program of all time.
Wow. Did not know that.
We are a swimming and diving school. We are a women's volleyball school. We have never been a basketball school, and they got me to care, and then they pulled the rug out from under me. I was madder, you guys, than I should have been.
Dude,
I was mad.
Yeah, I don't know. I try really hard not to let sports hate get onto my Twitter feed. I try to keep my social media posts positive, but man, nothing gets me more than the toxicity of college basketball fans and just the pure lack of critical thinking skills, just people being a-holes on Twitter. And I wrote a tweet. I was like, the most toxic corners of Twitter, I believe, are college basketball, Twitter, certain people during the MLB season, but that, there's jerks in every corner with that. And then politics Twitter. And then thank God, way at the bottom of the list is minor league baseball.
No.
It's like the opposite of college basketball.
I know it's obviously like Jess, it's like college baseball Twitter isn't that bad, except that I go to a school with the Longhorn, and this probably won't mean nothing to you guys, but Longhorn baseball Twitter can be so bad that I have Aggie fans coming to my defense when I get into an argument. And that's a thing. Like,
that's impressive.
That's impressive. That's love can build a bridge, and so can morons on Twitter, I guess.
That's like when I wore a Mariners hat to an Oakland A's game, and a Yankees fan was yelling at me, and the Oakland A's fan came to my defense.
Guys, we have to feel really bad for our Yankee brethren. It's funny. One of my favorite people on Twitter, and it's weird that because I adore her. I adore Emily. She's part of our team, and I think she does a really good job of executing a shtick. And her shtick is that she's sassy and she can give as good as she gets. And I have to imagine being a woman in this environment, you kind of have to. I think, it's because sexism is a thing. Well, so she got asked to go on a radio station in San Diego, which was a very big deal for her. And I tuned in and watched it, and they kept trying to get some Yankee Met stuff going, and she kind of she just kept saying, listen, I just want the Yankees to beat the Astros if they can figure out a way. And I just started laughing, and I messaged her as she's on the radio thank you for that.
That was nice. Why were they asking about New York sports teams on a San Diego?
Well, I think she had a connection to the host and was maybe doing her a solid to grow the show. Her show really is, she puts a lot of work into it, and it is very Yankees driven, and it is very in tone, that sort of New York media, which can be a little acerbic at times, not necessarily my cup of tea, but like when she comes on our show, she's a totally different person, which is again why she's, a contributor on our show. But MLB does kick off. MLB's first pitch is Thursday. First, I have to start with Jess. One of my favorite students. He's probably watching right now, and if he is, you have a test tomorrow, so maybe get to work. Brady, but he is born and raised in San Francisco. I took this kid on my LA trip. We did a tour of Dodger Stadium, and I wore an Astros shirt, and his shirt said "Keep calm and hate the Dodgers," but it was in Giants, and they were so nice to us. It was annoying. I was like, come on, man. We're wanting a little, I bought a t-shirt cause I was like, I can't not leave. But Jess, the Giants, what are we thinking? NL West looks a little bit more wide open than previous years. I mean, what do you think about your Giants?
Well, the fact that 12 teams per league make the playoffs now, I think the Giants have a chance to sneak into the wild card.
You almost killed Jim. Jim, breathe. That was great timing.
Oh boy, was it? Because I feel like I'm gonna die. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
You figure the NL West has the Padres, and the Padres, I think, by and large, are the team to beat. I don't know if it's just because Freddie Freeman and Gavin Lux are out for the Dodgers for an indeterminate amount of time. I think Lux might be out for most of the season, and he's supposed to be their everyday shortstop, and Freddie Freeman for some amount of time. Which, by the way, going back to what you were saying or asking for the World Baseball Classic about injuries, his and Altuve's injuries being baseball injuries could have just as easily happened in spring training.
Yeah. In fact, you might make the argument more likely when you're thinking about how sometimes depleted the talent is you're facing in spring training. Like we were still facing a decent picture. So
yeah. But yeah, you figure I think the division, probably the National League, and quite possibly the World Series, at least based on what they've spent, is the Padres to lose. Whether or not they can actually gel as a team, going to be a different story. And that is, I think, kind of been the big story. That's why the Dodgers haven't done as well as their payroll would suggest. They've been spending a lot. It's why the Yankees haven't done as well as their payroll would suggest. It's why.
Are we losing Jess?
Yeah.
This is what happens when he goes and picks somebody other than the Astros to win the World Series. The internet takes over.
We're being watched.
But you have you have to have more than just good players. You have to have a good clubhouse, and that's what wins World Series. And the Giants in San Francisco kind of showed that off. They didn't necessarily have the best team, or excuse me, they didn't have the best players. They had the best team, and that's really like you look at the Astros. The Astros, I think, kind of have the best of both worlds. They have guys that play well together that also in several positions are the best at that position in the division, in the American League, in MLB. And that is the perfect storm. But I think in terms of the Giants, the only way they win the division is if there are massive injuries in all parts of Southern California. There's been so much rain, maybe the whole bottom half just washes away.
Yeah.
But the Giants,
that's funny.
The Giants are not going to win the division. That's not going to happen. They may sneak in as a playoff team. I think they showed off the last couple years. They may not get the Arson Judges of the world, but they do get or Carlos Correa once or twice. But they do get guys that they're able to turn back into serviceable players. Sean Manaea is looking good. Mitch Haniger looks like he could be a good part of the outfield, and then Jock Peterson swinging it well in spring training, and he was a vital part of the power that they had, or lack of power that they had last year in the outfield, and they should have a winning season. Beyond that, but the NL West could be one of the better divisions, at least one of the better top half of the divisions, because the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, you never know what they're going to do because neither of them really do anything splashy.
Eric, did the Mariners make enough moves to improve? Are you worried about, I've seen a lot of different evaluations of their offseason. Some say they've improved, but somehow got thinner. Overall, where are you sitting?
Yeah. Oh, that's great question. I love talking about our teams. First off, Jess, take care of Mitch Haniger for us. We love him up here in the Northwest. But I think he is a Bay Area guy. I think so that, it's kind of like when Griffey went back to Cincinnati. We're like, at least he went home, so yeah. I'm not equating Haniger with Griffey, but you know what I mean.
Are you sure? Can you be, please?
Yeah, no, sorry. I don't know that's going to happen.
Oh my God.
I do. Wow, Jim, you got to stop drinking.
I don't know what's happening.
Is that beer?
No, it's a Dr. Pepper Zero.
Oh, well, that's your problem.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
That was fat.
Well,
Factless.
you're looking great, and I gave up soda pop for Lent, so I'm just jealous.
I tell you what I always told my grandmother. Right? For Lent, I give up Roman Catholicism. It's just easier.
That's funny. This reminds me, and it goes back to the talk of Team Israel too. One of my favorite Jesuit priests out there. He lives in New York. He's written books. He's on TV. He was the chaplain for the Colbert Report. His name is Father Jim Martin. For Lent every year, one of his best friends is Jewish, and his Jewish best friend tells him what he's going to give up for Lent.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because his friend was like, wait, you get to pick what you give up? That doesn't work. Give up something you don't like. So he's like, I'm going to tell you what you give up. So that's awesome.
I love that. That's risky.
I know.
Can you pick 3 and then maybe I can choose the final one? Like,
yes, yeah, you can whittle it down. Yeah.
But no, the Mariners, do you see them? Are they back in the playoffs this year?
Oh my gosh. There is more excitement, and I don't want to say confidence, but hope this offseason, and especially spring training, than there has been in years. And I think part of it's because we finally ended the drought. We got back to the playoffs. And we, for the first time since A-Rod, we have this young superstar that is all over national media. And if you notice, like MLB Network commercials are finally showing some Mariners, Navy, and Teal. They hadn't for like 20 years. So now Julio's everywhere. Luis Castillo, is an ace, like a legit ace. The moves weren't big splashy moves. We got Colton Wong at second base. Let's see. I know I'm missing someone. Oh, Teoscar Hernandez from the Blue Jays. But I think it's going to be kind of like an under the radar improvement. The one thing I've been noticing, I was just online today reading some like national, pundits or whatever. Our rotation and our bullpen are like ranked really, really high, which kind of surprised me. But then I looked, I was like, oh yeah, we do have a really good pitching staff. So we'll see. It's going to be more fun. And Julio is just a fun person. And we finally have some energy. Opening day sold out with that, which hasn't happened in a long time. So I'm excited.
That is exciting. And, I was funny because when Altuve got hurt, there was a lot of doom and gloom. And I think, honestly, all Altuve getting hurt does is make them the same team they were last year, because they had improved the offensive production by signing Abreu and not re-signing Yuli.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think the only reason the Astros don't repeat is because repeating is hard.
Yeah.
I honestly think they're back in the World Series again. I could see, and I think MLB Network picked the Padres to beat the Astros in the World Series.
Yeah, I just saw that. Yeah.
Which would be great, because then we can continue Jim's childhood of pain. Because the Astros lost in 98 they had Randy Johnson. Thank you very much, Eric. And lost to the Padres. And then 30 years later, I walk into Petco Park and they're celebrating that game, that series.
Are you serious?
And I had a great time between every inning. It was this highlight and that highlight, and I'm over here dying.
Oh.
But no, I mean, what's the name of my show? I'm treating the name of the show the same way I'm treating Astros World Series, man. Let's get 2.
There you go.
We get 2 in a row.
There's a cross-branding opportunity here. You should
I keep trying to get the Astros to get more involved in this, and they continue to not pay any attention to what I'm doing. So,
even with these great new logos with the tequila sunrise.
I'm just telling you, I don't know what's going on. Go-Go Astros is actually growing in popularity. We were at one point, Go-Go Astros was like the number 20 podcast for MLB and Apple at one point.
Wow.
Let's Get Two's gotten as high as in the 50s, which is pretty cool. They ranked 200. So, and of course, guys, it's a part of that's because of you guys. That is our time.
That was quick.
I know, it's been so much fun. Jess, real quick, tell us where everybody can find you and why some folks should get out to Harrisburg and come meet the very only Jess Knaster.
Well, I'm on the social medias as active as I am in the off season. Somehow I find a way to help that dwindle down as we get into the regular season, because there's a lot to do. It's baseball season, and anybody who gets to live it as a fan, we do the same thing as employees. I can't fully speak for Erik, but this is a lot of chaos. I was talking to my parents today, and I asked myself, this is the time of year where I find out, why do I continue to do this? This is stressful. This is hard. This is a lot. It's long hours. This is when the tarp gets rolled out for the first time, and we see if anybody chewed through it in the winter.
Oh no!
Which hopefully that's not the case. But and we got some interns that have never done a tarp roll before, so we got to teach them before it matters. But why come to a game in Harrisburg? It's baseball. What the World Baseball Classic does is it shows that fans can have fun at a baseball game. Because of the baseball, fans can have fun at the baseball game in spite of the baseball. And not to say that the baseball that we'll have this year is going to be bad. We don't know what our team's going to look like. But I do know, because it's my job to, as the director of game entertainment, to make sure that people can have fun regardless of what happens on the field, regardless of what happens during the game, because between innings and just overall theme nights are going to be fun. And it's what we work our butts off for all winter, is to make sure that people have a fun place to come in the summertime. And there are only so many places that you can leave work and go see baseball on an island.
Yeah, that's true. And you guys did a hell of a job on Christmas in July night. I guess it was Christmas in August when I went, but did a great job. And Erik, other than you, why should people get out to the Tri-City?
Oh my gosh, that's
Dusty.
That's kind of you. Dusty's there. We got Dippin' Dots. Jess, it's been great to talk with you. I love hearing your voice on all the shows. It's nice to finally see your face. And I got to visit Harrisburg Ballpark. Is it Island Park, or what's the name of it?
City Island is the island. It's currently for FNB Park.
That's right.
FNB Field.
Okay.
Like I said, 14 days, brains out.
Right. Yeah. But I visited during a day when there was no game, but I rode a little train around the island, and I could only imagine how magical going to a Senators game is. So if you find yourself on the West Coast, come on up to the Inland Northwest, see a Tri-City Dust Devils game. We just had our game day staff training yesterday, and as the oldest tenured employee out there, they had me get on the mic a little bit and share. And when we have people visit Gisa Stadium out here in the Tri-Cities, I've heard three things over and over again for 23 years. Number one, our ballpark's really clean. So that's a shout out for Number two, the views are pretty majestic. These desert sunsets in the middle of the summer. But finally, the number one thing I've heard over and over again is this is one of the top friendliest stadiums I've ever been to. And that starts at the top with our president, Brent, and our vice president and general manager, Daryl. And we really, really try to be like the friendliest people, the friendliest ballpark you could find. I know that's something a lot of stadiums do, a lot of minor league teams do, but I hear it over and over again from visitors. So if you're on the West Coast in the Northwest, come to a friendly, clean, beautiful ballpark.
Well, again, that does wrap us up. You're going to see these guys throughout the season. We obviously are glad we had them on early, since they're going to be otherwise engaged, unlike me and Andy Tom Cheston, who don't have anything to do during the week, but log in and talk about things. I do hope that everybody is watching, or that will watch this or listen to this tomorrow, will check out our calendar. It has become one of my favorite parts to see people who know our show or know any of these guys to show up. You can call me Jim. Don't just yell, "Hey, let's get two" from across the team store, because that's weird. But again, baseball's back in about 3 days. Get yourself some peanuts, get you some Cracker Jack, and most importantly, guys, let's get two.
Woo!